that's running. This is starting. Okay, cool. We're good to go. So today we're going to cover like intro to Palo, basically. If you're here for the Juniper lab, it's basically going to be the exact same thing, but with Palo instead of Juniper. Yeah, we're just going to basically go through the command line interface for how to like configure networking, user management, doing like a basic NAT and firewall rules. And then in the future, we'll go over some more complicated things. We'll get deeper into how application, like app ID works, how services are different from applications, and how to do sort of like weirder configurations like a bump firewall where you stick it in at layer 2 instead of layer 3, which gives you a lot more flexibility in a competition setting. So for this, we'll just get started. If you open up, so when you have everything powered on, you should be able to open PAVM. This is Palo 8. It should be, I think, pretty much the newest version. And then the login credentials are admin and admin. Now, if you just powered on your VApp, you probably won't be able to log in right away. Palo does this weird thing where it'll boot up and it'll show you the login prompt, but it won't actually let you authenticate for like a few minutes because it's still like starting up all of its internals. It's a little bit annoying, but you just have to give it a minute or two and then try again. Are you stuck there, Mike?
I was just, well, my first 6 logins were stuck there.
Oh yeah.
I forgot what to take.
Yeah, I did too.
Such a stupid.
Yeah, it is kind of.
It is. It's really bad. Does it run off as a service then?
I guess so. So I did manage to figure out how to fix where like the iLab will make your, when it like reconnects your VM, it'll make it like pop forward, it'll grab your focus. I figured out how to fix that with like a tamper monkey script.
What does it do?
It just sets window.focus to null, and then it can't grab focus.
Well, it still resizes, it just doesn't grab focus anymore.
Right, yeah. And that's all I really know how to do right now, but.
Okay, I'm going to add that into mine.
Yeah.
Is it just a Firefox problem? So you use Chrome, I never had that. Or is it the Flash?
I think it's the Flash.
The Flash, okay.
Yeah.
So I got the reload thing for the HTML5, but not the come focus.
Does it resize itself in HTML5, do you know?
Not that I remember.
Doesn't, it's not really. Still not worth it.
No, it doesn't do that. It doesn't resize.
Okay. So when you first log in, you basically get what the CLI. So if you remember on Juniper, when we logged in, we get like a basic bash or CSH shell. In Palo, it doesn't actually have that. So you just get dumped right into the CLI. And we can do all of the like CLI type things, like showing interfaces. We get our show interface, ETH. Go show interface all, and we can see all of our interfaces, except none of them are configured. That's unfortunate. Yeah, we'll configure those later, I guess. What else we got here? You can do SCP. You can like request to reboot the system. Lots of stuff like that.
Can you disable SSH from here?
No.
Yeah.
Gotta do it through configure. So you're gonna type configure to get into configure mode. And obviously the first thing you want to do is save your running config to a backup. Call it backup.xml. Save config to backup.xml. So you have that done. If you want to load it, you can do load config from backup.xml. And it will load. And also, if you have made like a bunch of changes and you realize they're all bad changes and you don't want to actually do them, you can do a load config last saved, and that'll reset your current configuration back to the last time you did a commit. So Yeah. So let's just show what the config looks like. So if you remember from Juniper, this is going to look pretty similar. So we have our device config, which governs things more related to the actual Palo system itself. So here you can modify like what the management interface IP address is. You can modify like NTP settings, DNS settings, and things like that. You can like modify what settings are enabled, what services are enabled on the actual Palo itself. So you can disable Telnet, you can disable HTTP, you can disable SSH if you want to. Set your host name, a bunch of different settings. Well, that's set already. Cool. Then we get down to network. So this is has all of our like network interfaces. So our LAN and our WAN interfaces will be in here. There's also some like profiles related to monitoring. And then there's like some crypto stuff. And we'll scroll down. Quality of service, and then virtual router. So basically the way Palo like logically thinks of things, it's got its interfaces and then it has like a virtual router inside itself. So it's not like a router itself, it just makes little virtual routers that you can connect different interfaces to, route between them. So you can have like multiple different virtual routers for different interfaces, makes it really configurable. And then there's some botnet stuff that I think Chase deleted last time, if you remember that, Mike.
Yeah, I remember.
And then, then we got zones and some applications, rule-based stuff. So, first, obviously, we want to modify users. So we're going to edit mgt-config, and then we'll show users. And here we see we have only one user. It's called admin. It has a hash and some permissions. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the user's password. So we're going to set user's admin password. And you can type in your new password here. Then we see that the hash has been changed to I believe that's SHA-1, right?
Looks about right.
Yeah. And then obviously when you're done with that, you want to commit. So that actually takes effect.
That was regionals, how many users do you have in that?
Just one.
Just one?
Yeah. Regionals, they did a weird VLAN thing because they basically connected all of our laptops into the Palo Alto directly instead of through a switch.
Yeah.
So they just bundled all those through a VLAN into one zone. So that they all showed up together.
Okay.
That was the only weird thing they did at Nationals, really. Then they did like a bidirectional NAT, which I'm not.
But the point is, as long as you can get here and change the password instantaneously.
Yeah, and you can always delete a user too. And username. I don't think they'll ever score like users on Palo.
Well, yeah. But if they had more user accounts, it'd take an extra minute to.
Yeah, but I'll doubt they'll do that. So from here, we're going to edit device config. Actually, no, we need to go top first to get out of the management config. It is admin, but you might have to wait like a minute or two because it'll show you the login prompt, and then it'll take a minute to actually start up the authentication service.
So you can log in, it just won't work.
Yeah, it just won't let you log in for like a minute after it boots.
Oh.
It's really dumb.
I like how we went from kind of dumb to like very dumb.
It's very dumb.
You have the sheet, right? The one that posted in Slack that has like everything we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So edit device config, and then we're going to set setting auto MAC detect. Yes. I realize you don't actually have to do this; it's already set, but it's good to do. So basically, what that does is that when you're running Palo virtually as like a VM inside ESXi, it isn't able to determine its own MAC address unless you put this setting in there. usually it'll try to like, I can't remember how it works off the top of my head, but I believe it like tries to check its own MAC address. That's a good question. Let's take a look. We got time. Slow internet.
It's because you're using Windows.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, it's about the switch though.
Yeah, it's about V switch. Yeah.
Is that a non-issue though if you're deploying in a physical environment?
No, it's not an issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, just the automatic detect lets it tell VMware where it is. Tell VMware what its MAC address is. So it actually works.
I'm surprised they.
Oops.
Surprised they was
It's kind of odd.
Yeah. It's such a weird. Why is it such a problem? It shouldn't be. Okay. What is layer 2 or whatever? Aren't you enjoying that?
Yes.
No, this is irrelevant. Is only relevant for layer 3 deployments.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm aware, this setting only matters if we're doing it, if we're putting it in layer 3 and it's in a virtual environment.
Right. Which
Okay.
is going to be fairly rare in actual competitions, but
Yeah.
It's
for our stuff, yeah. Plus for comps, why not? Yeah. Well, probably won't be that mean.
and we're probably going to move away from doing Palo in virtualized in comps.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So, okay, moving on. So we're going to edit system, because what we're going to do here, the way Palo works is it has one management interface that you're supposed to use to actually like connect to the web interface and to use SSH and things like that, so you can actually like talk to the VM or the firewall itself without actually allowing like random clients to connect to it.
You spelled that.
Yes. So what we're going to do here is we're going to set the IP address. So we need to set type static because it's currently set to DHCP. And then we're going to set IP address 192.168.1.254. And to set net mask 255.255.255.0. Set the default gateway to 192.168.1.1. So basically, if the Palo wants to actually talk out, it'll just loop back to its own interface that we're going to set up later. So it'll just loop back in and then go out. Because obviously there's no other way for it to get out of the internal network. And then we'll set DNS setting. Servers primary 172.163.100. I'll commit that.
Is this the management interface we're figuring out?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I thought it was. Yeah, clear.
So now if we jump over to one of the internal clients, if we want to look at, say, DNS, log in as root, password one bang, should now be able to ping 192.168.1.254. And you should also be able to curl it if you want to. Actually, you probably can't. You have to do the HTTPS version. Redirects.
Oh, redirect.
Yeah, there you go. Massive bunch of HTML. Oh, in one case, it was actually good for me. Palo just popped up right when I needed it. Okay. So our next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually set up the actual interfaces that we're going to use for communication from our LAN to our WAN and back and forth. So we're going to do top to get out of device config, and then we're going to edit network. So if you look in the actual iLab, like the vCloud here, you'll see this first interface. That's our management interface. Our second interface is called Ethernet 1/1. Then the third one is called Ethernet 1/2. So 1/1 is connected to our WAN. That's going to be our external network. And then 1/2 is connected to our LAN. So we're going to set this up accordingly. So we're going to set interface Ethernet 1/1, layer 3, IP 10.0.0.1/24. And we're going to set up our other interface, set interface Ethernet 1/2, layer 3, IP 192.168.1.1/24. So that'll assign the IP addresses for our networks, but one thing I'd like to be able to do just to test our functionality later is be able to like ping these interfaces, right? So I want to be able to ping 192.168.1.1 and 10.0.0.1. The way Palo is set up by default is that it will not allow any traffic directly to the router's IP addresses to like access the router system. So you can't ping it, you can't do SSH, you can't do HTTP unless you set up an actual management profile. So that's what we're going to do next. So we're going to do set profiles. Interface management profile, pingable. It's going to be the name. I'm going to do ping yes. If you look here, you can set up, you can like allow HTTP, you can allow HTTPS, you can allow SSH to this interface, to this profile. So sometimes in competitions, what they'll do is they'll just assign the global management interface to basically every interface that they have. So you can like connect to the web interface or over SSH directly to the router from like the WAN or the LAN or whatever, just as like a misconfiguration thing. So that's something you want to watch out for. So once we've done that, we actually need to assign it to our interfaces. So we're going to set interface Ethernet 1/1, interface management profile. Oh yeah, I got it right there, but I didn't do it right myself. Ethernet 1/1 layer 3 interface management profile pingable. We'll do the same thing for 1/2. And wait, not commit yet. So what we have right now is we've set up our interfaces, so they'll actually like ARP for their IPs. You can contact them over ping, assuming that doesn't get blocked at the firewall, which I'm not 100% sure if it will. But you won't be able to actually route packets from like your LAN to your WAN or your WAN to your LAN right now. They're just like acting as this router is on 2 different subnets. It actually won't do any routing. So to enable routing, we're going to set virtual router. I think I might have messed this up. Yeah, I did. If you're using this thing, let me modify this quick. Forgot to put the name of the virtual router in there. here. Scroll. So we're going to set virtual router default interface Ethernet 1.1 and Ethernet 1.2. So we've added those two interfaces to our virtual router, so it'll actually be able to route between those two subnets. And then obviously we want to set a default route. So we're going to set virtual router default routing table IP static route default destination 0.0.0.0/0. It will capture all of the IP addresses which are not like actually in that subnet. And then we'll go interface Ethernet 1.1. That's our external interface. So we're saying any traffic you don't know what to do with, shoot it out through Ethernet 1.1 and send it to next hop IP address 10.0.0.254, which is our upstream pfSense. Once you're done with that, you should be able to commit.
Saves after each commit, doesn't it?
What do you mean?
Can you roll back? I don't remember. Was that Juniper you can roll back to specific commits?
You can on this, yeah. So you can do load,
Okay.
config, version, and you can go back to a specific commit.
Okay. Do you know how many it saves?
I don't. Apparently 1 million.
So don't commit work. I don't know, slightly unrelated note. Do you know how many interfaces it has to have before it rolls over to Ethernet 2? It's 16 or?
I guess 9.
Okay. Select as it do once it has it. Then it would have, what does it do? Let's see, it's 81 interfaces.
I would guess that those are just like default names, but you could just like name them arbitrarily, I would imagine. Then again, actually on a physical Palo, but we'd probably be pretty restricted, right?
Well, I mean, you're not going to have 81 ports, right? Yeah. Or
Yeah.
even, you couldn't have the 10 or the 9 or whatever. I'm going to be honest here, I don't know what the line is. They're firewalls. Well, I mean, yeah, no, it's true though. How many? Because you said during the regionals they plugged everything in directly into the Palo, right?
Yeah, there were quite a few.
That's quite a few ports. You get 48 port Palos then?
No, not that many. There were like tops like 20.
24.
24. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying that if we got those, why wouldn't you have?
These are a lot smaller.
Oh yeah, those are what they are.
That
but
is
that isn't necessarily
6.
we got those.
I mean, I don't think they were huge.
Well, I mean, it shouldn't need to be huge. That's what switches are for. Yes, that's our network. We just plug everything into the edge router.
Yeah.
Are they charging you software there?
I think they make you do a support contract.
Hey guys, you want to buy Palo?
I mean, if you're spending that much money on a piece of hardware, you kind of want the support contract, right?
I suppose. How much did you spend on the hardware? Well, these things are like. By the way, you get a
$30,000.
only $30,000. So you mentioned previously. Do we have physical Palos lying around?
No, those were loaned to us by Palo for the competition, and then they took them back.
Okay. Well, Tom mentioned that those EXXI servers might still be around though.
Are you sure? Oh yeah.
He mentioned those.
Oh, that makes sense. But we were going to grab those out of 200, right? Hopefully.
Eco 200? What do you mean?
No, EH200. Remember what Schneider was talking about?
Yeah, but those are, okay, I'm going to be honest here. If we can grab the iLab, like the 6-year-old EXXI versus like whatever those were, what were those? Do you know what those were?
I mean, Schneider said they were like 2 years old. Well, you mean the one in the competition?
I mean, the 6 up in EH200 are probably.
Yeah, Schneider thought they were at least 2 years old.
Well, more than 2 years since they've been decommissioned.
Yeah.
That doesn't make them 2 years old.
That's true.
But Tom said there was the EX guy from the competition might still be lying around somewhere.
That'd be great if we could get those.
Yeah.
So, okay. Let's do zone configuration. Actually, no. Let's check that our stuff worked. I don't know if this is actually going to work or not, but because we don't have
your
rules, but I'll try it anyway.
The external interface, you can create the administrator.
Oh.
Yeah, yep.
Well, let's do rules first.
Firewalls are nice.
Yeah. Okay. So next, obviously we want to get rules on here. So we're going to hit top to get back out of the network interface stuff, and then we're going to show zone. You can see there's no zones configured. We're going to do this ourselves. If you run like competition setting, obviously these would be in there already, and you just need to like figure out which one is your LAN, which one's your WAN, so you can configure your rules properly. So we're going to set zone WAN network layer 3 Ethernet 1.1, and then we're going to set zone LAN network layer 3 Ethernet 1.2. It's just that simple. We can commit here.
So if we do show zone now. Okay, cool. Awesome. Can you control C while it's committing in the background?
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't cause problems?
Not really. Obviously you want to let them commit in order, I guess, but I imagine you'd be able to handle that.
I would think so.
Yeah. I mean, typically in a competition, I just like do everything I want to do at once and then commit.
That's a terrible decision, you know it.
Well, I don't do everything at once, but I do like a big block of stuff.
But you can't roll back properly then, right?
Well, yeah, you could roll back to before you.
Well, yes, before you did all your changes, right?
Yeah, but you don't want to commit like in the middle of doing your inbound firewall rules. That's bad.
That's bad. But I mean, and I guess normally you're not going to have to do most of this in the competition setting because it already worked to start with.
Right.
So all this is done. You just got to configure rules and some other.
Yep. So next we're going to do our allow alls. So we're going to do edit role-based security. So if you remember in Juniper we had the I think it was security policies was the one it was called in Juniper. Here we have role-based security. So the unfortunate thing about Palo as opposed to Juniper is that they don't let you like nicely configure like here are all my WAN rules, here are all my LAN rules. It's all just in one big list. So as like a nice reminder, I usually do like the name of the interface that I'm applying this rule to. I'll do that first, and then I'll do dash generally the name of the host and then what I'm allowing through. But here we'll just do allow all since that's what we're doing. So we'll do set from WAN to LAN, source any, destination any. So we're matching on packets coming from the WAN interface to our LAN, from the WAN zone to the LAN zone. Any source any destination, then we'll set application any and service any. We'll get more into how applications and services work a little bit later. After that, we'll set action to allow. And then we're done with this rule. So we're going to type up to get out of this rule, and then we're going to edit rules LAN allow all. And we'll do basically the same thing. We'll set from LAN to WAN, source any, destination any, set the application to any and service to any, and set action to allow. Up and then commit show, and we can see all of our rules. So we have WAN allow all and no LAN allow all, and we'll just commit that. So now that that's finished, we can jump back over to DNS, and we should now be able to ping 192.168.1.1, which I can. And then over on some internet machine, we can try pinging the external interface. So now that we've done that, we can set up our source NAT and our destination NAT. So we're going to do top to get out of the security rules. And then we'll edit rule base NAT and rules SNAT. We'll set from LAN to WAN, source any, destination any. Set service to any, and set source translation. Dynamic IP and port, interface address, interface, Ethernet 1, Ethernet 1.1. And then we can commit that. Right, so now if we go to DNS, we should be able to ping things outside of our subnet. So like 10.0.0.254, we should be able to ping, and we can. You can also try .100 if you want. So now we have our source NAT, we can do our destination NAT. So we're going to do up. And if you show, you can see this is basically similar to the rule-based security stuff. All of your NAT rules are in one big blob together too. So it doesn't nicely separate them out like Juniper does, which is unfortunate. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do edit rules, DNAT, and then I'm going to do dash and then the name of the system that I'm doing destination NAT for. The first one's HTTP SSH. And then I'll set from WAN to WAN. This is a sort of weird thing where on the destination NAT, your interfaces are going to be basically what they're doing is they're sending a packet to an external IP. So the zone is going to be external on the source and the destination side, which is why you have that from WAN to WAN. So we're going to do source any destination 10.0.0.10. That's going to be the external IP of our HTTP SSH. And we'll set service to any, and then we'll set destination translation, translated address 192.168.1.10. Type up, we can show that. Oops. It looks something like that. And basically we're going to repeat this for .20 and .30. So we're going to edit rules, DNAT, RDP, set from WAN to WAN, 10.0.0.20, set service to any, set destination translation, 192.168.1.20. We'll do the same for DNS. Oops. So me.30. Right. So now we have all of our destination NAT set up. Just hit commit. once that rolls on, we can test it out by going from one of our internet boxes and trying to ping an internal system. All right, let's jump over to internet. Should be able to ping 10.0.0.10, .20, probably not .20 because it's Windows and they block ping, and .30. Feel good there? No?
I got lost a while ago. I'm just listening.
Okay. Once we get through everything, we can jump back a bit if you want. So, you ready now, Mike? So if you go, now we'll do the actual inbound and outbound firewall rules. So if you do run top, and you should be able to edit rule-based security again. You can show your rules for your WAN and your LAN. In the sheet, it tells you to delete the rule WAN allow all. Another thing you can do that's probably a bit more safe is you can run disable. I mean, you can run set rules WAN allow all disable equals yes. Disable yes. Disabled yes. That way, if you need to like jump back and turn it back on again, you can do that fairly easily. From here, we'll edit rules. And like I said before, we'll do name of the interface that we're applying this rule to, the name of the system that traffic should be going to. It's going to be HTTP SSH, and then the application that we're allowing through, which is going to be HTTP. And then we'll set from WAN to LAN, source any, destination, 10.0.0.10. So this is one of the weird things about Palo that is different from other firewalls, is that when you have a NAT set up, it wants you to use the external interface, the external IP address of the system rather than the internal IP address of the system. On like pfSense and Juniper, and I think probably on Cisco too, they want you to use the internal IP address. The way that Palo's packet filtering system works, it just ends up that the NAT ends up being done after the firewall rules. So that's why we have to use our external IP addresses. So now we can talk about applications. So Palo is really cool in that it has the functionality to be able to detect whether or not traffic going over a certain port is actually like HTTP traffic. So if I wanted to SSH over port 80, Palo would be able to detect this is SSH traffic, not HTTP traffic, which is really, really cool. And it really screws over Red Team because they're trying to run the reverse shells over port 80 and 443, and it doesn't look like HTTP traffic. So Palo says, that's not right. I'm going to cut it off. So that's why the way they do that is they separate out the application from the port. So the application for web, if you do set application question mark, there's like a million different applications defined by Palo. It is kind of crazy.
That's what you pay for.
That's what you pay for. So we're going to do web browsing is the one for web traffic. And this is only HTTP traffic, not HTTPS traffic. So you do set application web browsing and then service. There are basically two predefined services here and then two sort of default things. So if you do service any, it will allow all HTTP traffic over any port. So if you were trying to run an HTTP server on port 9000, it would allow that through, even though it's not over port 80. Application default will take obviously the default application port. So for HTTP, that would be port 80. If you were doing SSH, it would be 22. And then they have service HTTP and service HTTPS. which are just predefined things to say, I want to do this on port 80 or port 443. And you can create your own services, which we'll get into probably next week.
So web browsing includes both HTTP and HTTPS?
No, just HTTP.
Okay.
Yeah, Palo, the unfortunate thing about Palo is that they really get granular on the HTTPS
Okay,
side.
those predefined services are stupid then.
Yes. Yeah. So do application default. Generally, you're going to use application default. Cool. Then we're going to set action allow. Then we're done with this rule. So type up, and we'll edit rules, WAN, HTTP SSH dash SSH, set from WAN to LAN. Yeah.
So is the web browsing thing the port? So instead of putting in port 80, you just put that in? Or was that
Web browsing means HTTP traffic. It can be going over any port. It just like, is this what HTTP traffic looks like? Is it using GET requests? Does it have the right headers? All that stuff. That's what Palo is like looking at. Is like, they call it like, what was it, next generation Gen 7 firewalls? They're actually inspecting the traffic to like see like, yes, this is HTTP traffic. Yes, this is SSH traffic. This looks like what it should look like. That gives you flexibility, so you can say I want to allow HTTP traffic over some random port, but it also prevents, the red team type stuff, where they're like trying to use port 80 for something other than HTTP.
But yeah, applications, the protocol, and services the port, correct?
Yes, but not in like a TCP UDP thing, obviously. So we're going to set from WAN to LAN, source any, destination 10.0.0.10. Set our application to SSH, service to application default, and we'll set action allow. Show that just to be sure. Up, we get edit rules. We'll do WAN RDP RDP. Set from WAN to LAN source any destination 10.0.0.20. And set application to MS RDP and service application default. So obviously they have their own like designations for like different applications. So like if I was looking for RDP, I wouldn't necessarily think to type ms-rdp. So Palo actually has built a like little like web app to show you this. I forget what it's called.
Appipedia?
Appipedia, that's it. Appipedia. So you can go in here and you can search like, I want to search for RDP. What is that actually called? And then you'll see like MSRDP right here. And if you click on it, it'll show you like standard ports 3389. What is this like application actually do? That way you can like double check your stuff. As like a reference for me during competitions, if you go into like the training folder and dig down to routers and firewalls and Palo Alto, I have this application cheat sheet here that I made. Basically, it tells you like what's the name of the application that you need to allow on your firewall, and then in certain cases you might have to create a service for it. For like encrypted traffic, Palo just has like a blanket SSL. So it'll say this stuff is encrypted. I can't read it, so obviously I can't tell what application is running underneath, right? So you just use SSL, and then you have to create your own service to tell it what port to use. So you create, like for FTPS, you create a service on port 990, and then you tell it to allow SSL traffic over that port. Another cool thing for our Windows people who might watch this later is that on SMB, you can actually limit what versions of SMB are allowed through the firewall. So if you want to like block Eternal Blue, you can block SMB version 1 at the firewall level, and that will like basically make Eternal Blue impossible to do for all your stuff behind it.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's actually like stupidly good.
Yeah.
Like hand them a firewall and shut down all of Red Team in like one command and make pretty much.
Yeah. Set action allow. And then do one last rule for DNS. So now we can double check all of our rules. So our allow all rule from WAN is disabled. Then we have our allow HTTP to .10, or allow SSH to .10, RDP to 20, and DNS to 30. So we can commit this.
What did you specify for WAN, HTTP, SSH, HTTP? Can you go back to the one? Let's set it quick. Yeah, well, just for your show. That's all. Just curious about how it represented something less much. Just for it.
What are you looking for?
Just do a show.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, might as well stop. That's fine. Sounds good.
Okay.
So I have brackets around it. It says web browsing SSH.
Oh yeah, you can do that. So what that does is says you can allow, you can do it that way too. So you can allow different applications in the same rule. So if you want to allow HTTP traffic and SSH together, I can show you that.
And then, but it will choose the service application default for both.
Yes. It should anyway. You can test it if you want.
I think my destination is for.
Did not work for some reason. Oh, I did it badly. So yeah, you'll see it basically looks like a list, and that'll allow both applications through. So we'll delete. In the meantime, we can jump over to internet, and if you try to like ping 10.0.0.10, you should no longer be able to do that. And then if you try to curl it, you should be able to. So now we're only allowing HTTP traffic there, along with SSH. I don't know if this will actually let me in, but I'm able to connect anyway. Yeah, figured. Let's see if that actually works here. Still works. And we should go to curl. And it works. So yeah, you can put in multiple applications for one rule. Generally, I don't do that, mostly because of the way I script it. Probably talk about scripting maybe next week or the week after. Basically, I'll just like generate a rule through like SA, like a bash script or like a PowerShell script, and I'll just dump all that stuff out there, copy and paste it in, and we don't have to worry about it. But yeah, if you're doing this manually, that might be a faster way to do it, although obviously it's going to make your rules a little bit more difficult to manage later on. So now let's do outbound rules. So we're going to edit rules, LAN, ICMP. Actually, yeah, let's modify this first. So we'll set rules, LAN allow all, disabled, yes. And let's edit rules, LAN, ICMP, probably call it LAN ping. Set from LAN to WAN, source any, destination any. Application will be ping, service application default. We'll set action allow. We'll do one for DNS. We're only going to allow DNS to this one DNS server, just to like show off specifying that sort of thing. You can allow just to 172.168.3.100. Set application to DNS, service application default, action allow. We'll edit, and we'll allow HTTP traffic. Oops. Okay, so as of right now, I'm allowing ping, DNS, and HTTP. So now we get to the weird part where Palo is kind of extremely granular about HTTPS. So the way we're going to make a rule for HTTPS here. Set our service application default, and then let's talk about applications. So the way Palo deals with HTTPS traffic is based on certificates. So if I'm trying to go to a site that has a valid certificate for google.com, it will match it to a specific Google application. So it can get really granular on that even further. So like, say I go to a website, it has a certificate for Google, but it has like a even further certificate for like drive.google.com or something like that, or docs.google.com. You can get really, really granular to say, I only want to allow access to Gmail, I only want to allow access to like Google Docs, but not like Google in general. You could say, I only want to allow to like Microsoft updates, but not any other HTTPS traffic, things like that. The flip side of that is that you can't just allow all HTTPS traffic. There is no way to actually do that. The default, like say I'm trying to go to like a HTTPS site, but if I'm trying to go to an HTTPS site that like Palo doesn't have like a predefined role for, so like it's some random website, maybe it's a self-signed certificate or something like that, you can just use SSL. So generally what we'll do is we'll just put SSL in there to just give us that generic HTTPS traffic. But that will still be blocking like Google and GitHub and like most of the things you actually want to use. So we have to set other applications as well. So we're going to do Google Base, which will allow us, if you want to look at all the Google stuff that you can like get down to. Google Safe Browsing, Google Spaces posting, Google Talk Gadget, all that stuff. So we're going to do Google Base. That will just give us all traffic to Google stuff. And then we can set application for MS Update to allow Microsoft updates. And GitHub. apt-get. So you can specifically allow access out to like HTTPS apt repos. And then yum for CentOS stuff and DNF for more CentOS stuff. I think I missed it, but you can also do like Firefox update. If you want to allow like Firefox to call out for updates and things like that. So basically it gets really granular. It's going to depend on the actual competition. If you're like doing this competition setting, it's going to depend a lot on what stuff they're actually using in the competition. At Nationals last year, they were using a site called, I can't remember off the top of my head. It's like some type of share thing. But it was like on that actual site, more or less. I think they were hosting it themselves, but for some reason, like it still got caught by that application. It might have been like the FTP traffic or something like that. But I had to like go through, figure out what services they were actually trying to make us go to. This is for like if we were like posting injects, we put them on this website. So I had to go through there, figure out what rule that actually, what application that was under, so that I could actually add it to our firewall. Otherwise, in the meantime, our inject guy was like cut off, which was really bad. But yeah, that we should be able to commit. Actually, I forgot to set the action. Oh no. Luckily, Palo is smart enough to realize that I messed up. GitHub base requires bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I think.
That's actually really weird. So it's the GitHub base is part of the wrong rule because it wants you to allow SSH to GitHub.
Well, you do use SSH if you're like doing actual Git stuff sometimes.
That's what I'm saying. That's GitHub base versus just allowing to the web base, the website. Shouldn't there be a rule for that? Palo doesn't have a rule for that. Wow, those are just the best descriptions I have ever seen. Predefined application. Wait, is there two GitHub bases in there?
There's GitLab base.
Oh, okay. Because no one uses GitHub anymore because it's used by Microsoft and for free. Right.
So I think with GitHub it might not let you like do a Git clone, possibly. Oh yeah, great.
But it won't just. Will it do it for you, or will it force you to do each one individually?
I think it does it for you. Yeah. So if we go to like DNS, try to should probably oh, you know what?
Yeah.
I bet it's blocking access to the captive portal.
Oh, that'll do it.
I wonder what that one is.
That's incredibly annoying.
PA something. Though you'd think that would get caught by SSL, right? wonder if I'm using the wrong DNS.
That'll do too. No, it won't. It should resolve externally. Or it'll resolve internally, but it'll resolve using external DNS servers. No problem.
What am I doing?
Yeah, I mean, that could be it, but very unlikely, I think. Wow. No, you're good. Have you tried restarting?
Okay, so DNS does work. Is it not getting caught by apt? So you think that'd be under web browser, right?
Not necessarily. Download something? Or just straight out? Oh, you have app to get in here, don't you?
Yeah.
What do you mean it's not getting caught by app? It's exactly what it is.
Huh? This one should be apt-get should be caught. Maybe it doesn't recognize the repos. But that doesn't make a ton of sense.
Well, that should be covered by SSL then, shouldn't it? No, but that's really weird. You can use whatever repos you want. I doubt Palo's that mean, right?
Because that might actually be the captive portal, actually. That makes sense. Let's see if I can do it from the internet. Okay. That is captive.
That's captive portal. Yeah. Just off then quick.
Yeah. This way. Realize that I have the auth script on the wrong system. It's on DNS, which I can't actually access.
Just copy and paste the script in there. What could go wrong?
Don't have that on Windows.
This is my GitHub. Did you get? None of your business. Really crappy GitHub.
Is it actually?
What?
Did you actually put it on your GitHub?
Oh, it's there. But what do you mean? It's there. But like most of it, along with the rest of the trash on my GitHub.
Yes.
But I mean.
Seems like that wouldn't be hard to find.
It's literally called captive portal auth, and then there's that one.
Oh no, I was talking about the copy paste.
Oh, that? No, that's not on there. Oh, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not on there. You can't have that. No copy paste. It was actually really amusing because I got behind and I just copy and pasted a shit ton of rules from the outbound lab section. And I was like,
Copy everything.
I was like, that worked really well actually.
Now it's working.
Well, I was just amused because it literally was like I just pasted it in and just ran through the wall. I was like, oh, that worked really well. Oh, Nick types too fast.
That's why I'm the best in the biz.
Is that all we need to do is type fast?
Yeah.
Hire
That's how you're good at.
because they're the best.
That's how you get firewalls, is if you can type fast.
Just all those repos. When are we gonna get a Linux Mint repo?
Just talk to Evan about that.
I don't give a shit. Did you read that link I sent out?
Yeah, it's a little
IP tables is already legacy in Linux Mint.
Oh, in Mint? Oh.
Yes, and it will likely be legacy in anything with a kernel above 4.18.
That's too bad.
That really makes me sad because we're gonna have to start teaching you new firewall because IP tables is will eventually, over the course of many, many years, and I'm going to say the word wrong because I can never say the word right, and I've completely forgotten to say it right, be deprecated. Is that the correct way to say it?
Yep.
I can't say alias right. People pick me up on that too.
So what do we use instead?
Something like BF filter or something.
Is it BF or is it BPF?
It's probably BPF filter.
What's wrong with IP tables?
It wasn't cool enough. It didn't have the word filter in it.
But actually,
Actually, Berkeley just paid them off.
oh, it's probably BP filter, I think.
So it's like a BSD transfer.
Nah, it's nothing to do with BSD.
Just in all the boxes.
What?
Just throw it in a box in competition. Don't tell anyone.
It's already on there.
It's already on there. You gotta take out firewall for IP tables though. Just
No, I'm not
figure
gonna
out
move
why.
my P tables, but I mean, like as I said, anything with a kernel above 4.18, I think has BF filter built into the kernel now. Yeah. Originated from BS platforms, but that's not. That's actually normally. I'm gonna be honest here. BSD normally does networking very well. In general, that's why our firewalls are all based on BSD stuff because they do it well. Probably because they just like hate everything else in the system. Yeah, no
Not
the
many
rules.
benefits.
I don't know. Let's see. Let's look at the rules. See how bad they are. See, that was May 31st, man. It's okay because it's going to take them 25 years to implement it. But frick, I mean, look at Python 2 for Pete's sake. P tables isn't really I mean, it's going somewhere. It's just going to go there extremely slowly because it's going to be on all the systems for probably a very long time. Well, maybe that's not true because if they disable it by default in the kernel. So this is how we screw the Schlanter, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. You just disable IP tables and then use BF filter instead. You'll have no idea what's going on.
So you would tell them this now too, Nick?
Nah.
Okay. It's okay because it's not on most of the systems anyway. So.
Did you just PM that to me or did you post that in DevSec?
I think I posted that on White Team.
Mm.
We have secret channels.
Yeah.
All the secret channels. I mean, I don't know. He's not in there. I don't think. I better check.
No, he's not.
Because he shouldn't be in there. It's like goddamn, Brand's everywhere. Kicked me out of mocking CCDC, you might as well.
That was dumb.
Kicked me out of White Team.
Let's see here.
I just posted it.
There's like no examples of how the rules.
Yeah,
actually
because it's
work.
probably terrible.
Maybe this will tell me. Oh wait, there we go.
Yeah, I posted
Sample
it.
blacklist. Oh, it's YouTube
Oh well,
video.
it's YouTube video. You guys want to watch a YouTube video? Are we just the streamers who watch other YouTube videos now?
It's only 4 minutes. Can't be that
Hey, buddy, you got enough terminals open?
Never had enough terminals.
At least 5.
But
It's actually gonna show.
well, I don't know. Just figure out which terminal. He's gonna type it stupidly small. I can't see what the heck is going on. He's also doing it where like can't.
Oh,
IP tables. He's typing up P tables rules.
Maybe it's just like a back end thing.
No. Is it?
It might replace like net filter, right?
That would be even more interesting. If I'm wrong and it just replaces net filter, but it said replace IP tables in the article, did it not? And then when I tried to use the IP tables command, it told me it was legacy. So they're modifying the front end somehow.
How do I install this kernel module that's not ready to go yet?
It's ready to go in the new kernel. I don't know how old that is. Because this is being originated in BSD. I don't know. I mean, yeah, what the heck? It's not here. You're right. Like, there's just nothing on the internet.
I would not be surprised if it's just a back end thing.
As I said, that would make sense, except
VPF tool.
if not for the fact that I know it told me IP tables is legacy now. So why are you telling me my front end is legacy if I'm still using the same front end to interact with the new back end? It doesn't make any sense. They have to be modifying the front end somehow. But for all I know, it's not an issue if they're like keeping the same syntax, but they're doing something with the front end. But yeah, there's just no docs on it.
Yeah.
I could try spinning up a Linux Mint box. I guess I'll just do it in the right place. I'll do it in the best place. Oh, crap, I can't remember the right name. Zipper, best name for package manager, but probably.
This is using BP filter on SmartNext to accelerate IP tables.
I don't think this is even related. I don't. It is telling me it's legacy though. It will tell me IP tables is legacy. So what are they using for the front end then?
Maybe you just NF tables.
Yeah, it's legacy. Oh no. That doesn't make me happy either. That's the same. Is that not the same?
It's the same.
I think these are like backwards compatibility things.
What's the tool called? Because I mean, I have a box open right now. I just need what the command is, because it's not NFT tables.
Is that IP tables dash NFT?
Is it dash what?
NFT?
No, not like. Okay, it's just NFT. So there's something here. So that's what it would appear to be then. But is that going across the board then? Is it going to be NFT tables with BP filter instead of IP tables with net filter now? Is that what we're getting?
Probably.
It still appears to use the chaining system. I don't know. Maybe it's not an issue. Maybe it won't happen.
Should we stop streaming?
Probably.
Probably.
Hey guys, you want to hear me complain about changes now?
Goodbye.